Okay, so with the second part of the 7 remake coming out next winter, I need to catch up on the actual lore of this game. So that's what we're gonna do, just like I'm kind of doing with World of Warcraft, setting up on your lore. I think it's only right that I should do, excuse me, Final Fantasy. So we're gonna look at some actual character origins. Now I don't know if these are I doubt these are gonna be in chronological order. I'm probably just gonna YOLO it. But nevertheless, I found this channel, Final Fantasy Union, that gives a pretty good deep dive, I believe, into the actual elements of all characters involved in the world. So that's enough of them giving them a shout out. The video I'm about to look at, the one for probably the most popular character, Sephiroth, over 1 million views. So I'm pretty sure it's packed with a lot of knowledge. I'm probably going to go through all of them. I don't know how many of them actually pertain to the 7 story, because I know these characters probably are from other games, and I know that also some actual titles are standalone stories. So I may just have to go through all of them and just see how everything just kind of connects. Probably what I'll do. But enough of that. Let's check out the origins of Sephiroth. Let's go.
Sephiroth is arguably the most recognizable antagonist within the Final Fantasy franchise.
Quality check.
But
Okay,
I
good.
think it's safe to say that his...
Yeah, the thing that I really want to know the most about Sephiroth is why he is so infatuated with Cloud. This man literally followed Cloud everywhere, at least in the 7 remake. I don't know what his obsession with him is. This man came into another franchise, Smash Brothers, just to run Cloud's feed. I need to know what's going on with that, so hopefully I'll get my answer.
popularity also expands into the wider gaming community too, as for example, he even won Game FAQ's Got Villains character battle back in 2005. But why is this the case? Perhaps it's his striking appearance with his long silver hair and glowing green eyes, his massive weapon, the Masamune, that he uses to strike down his foes, his full
Big sword
backstory, and the air of mystery around his later life. Or perhaps it's simply just the fact he was the antagonist in the most popular game in the franchise. Either way, what I do know is that as the compilation of Final Fantasy VII continued to grow through additions of properties like Before Crisis and Crisis Core, and also novellas like On the Way to a Smile, we also saw an expansion to Sephiroth's narrative. We gained more and more pieces of the puzzle relating to his past and, in a way, the humanity he possessed that we perhaps didn't get to see in the original game. It means we got to understand more about Sephiroth's tragic fall from grace that saw him go from being a respected poster boy hero in the universe of Final Fantasy VII through to being the ultimate antagonist throughout the entire compilation who wanted to nearly destroy the entire planet. And that's what we're going to be running through today in our video, as we take a very detailed look at Sephiroth's origins. Also though, as a quick reminder, if you enjoy what we do, please be sure to subscribe to Final Fantasy Union to make sure you get notified when we publish new content. Alright, onto the video.
Cool.
Sephiroth was supposedly born around 25 to 30 years before the main events of Final Fantasy VII took place, but his birth was far from conventional. And to understand exactly why that is, we have to delve much further into the history of Gaia. Thousands of years before the main story even began, an extraterrestrial being called Genova landed on Gaia via a meteorite and started to attack the inhabitants of the planet. At the time, the preeminent race on Gaia was a group of people known as the Cetra. They suffered huge losses to their population as Genova hunted them down, but the remaining members of the Cetra managed to successfully launch a final stand.
Okay, so the question being, why was Genova so bloodthirsty? Is that just how she was written? I mean, it sounds like she came to another planet on a meteorite, they said, but why attack the other inhabitants? I don't know if it's for conquest. I don't know.
Genova in the northern crater, where she lay dormant until Shinra started to excavate the northern crater approximately 30 years before the main timeline of Final
And of
Fantasy
course
VII
it's Shinra.
begins. Professor Gast named the remains they found as Genova, but mistakenly believed them to be of Cetran origin. Nonetheless, Professor Gast started the Genova project with the goal of using the genetic material they found to produce a Cetra in the present day. In this endeavour, he was assisted by Professor Hojo and Dr. Lucrezia Crescent, with Dr.
Oh
Hollander
shit, now I need to find out
also
what are
taking an
actually
interest
Cetra.
in
Like
their
just a race of
research.
people? Or...
The bulk of their research took place in the Shinra mansion above Nibelheim, and Vincent Valentine was assigned as a bodyguard to protect the researchers while they worked on the project.
Ad.
During this time, he fell in love with Lucrezia and actually proposed to her, but she rejected this proposal due to the guilt she felt relating to the death of Vincent's father, Grimoire Valentine.
Oh, there you go.
Seeking solace, Lucrezia then turned to Hojo, and the two soon became married. Now, in this time, experimentation on Genova cells was starting to see results, but members of the team and the wider Shinra research departments started to look into more extreme measures, and various members decided to start experimenting on unborn children. Dr. Hollander was the first to take this approach, as he looked to surpass Professor Hojo and Professor Gast. This saw him create Project Gillian, or Project G as it would often be referred to as. Working with Gillian Hewley, the pair devised an experiment that would see her injected with Genova cells. They would then impregnate her with the hope that her offspring would demonstrate enhanced abilities. The experiment
for what
was
purpose?
successful and resulted in the natural birth of Angele Hewley. For their next experiment, they decided to instead extract Gillian cells and inject them into a baby. This baby was known as Genesis Rhapsodus. After finding out what Dr. Hollander had been up to, Professor Hojo decided to be much more direct with his experimentation.
Okay, so far, Genesis came from Genova, and also, what was the other guy's name? Geely? I'm guessing this leads into the actual first soldier program.
Following their marriage, Lucrezia Crescent became pregnant with his child, and the pair, despite several objections from Vincent Valentine, offered their unborn child to Professor Gast for use with the Genova project. This experiment would be known as Project S, or Project Sephiroth. Unlike Dr. Hollander's experiment, Hojo's would see Genova cells injected directly into a woman's womb alongside a human fetus that was in the embryonic stage. He hoped that they would grow together and merge to create an enhanced human. Although initially complicit with this experiment, during the pregnancy, Lucrezia suffered terrible pains frequently, and also had visions of the future atrocities that her son, Sephiroth, would commit. Lucrezia warned Hojo about this, but he was unconcerned about such trivial matters.
Well, why did Sephiroth call Genova his mother? Well, technically...
Later, upon the birth of Sephiroth, Lucrezia's pain was compounded. Wanting to continue their experimentation on the newborn baby straight away, scientists involved with Project S ripped the baby away from Lucrezia before she was even able to hold him. It started Lucrezia on a downward spiral, and with Vincent Valentine also dying in the time that followed, she became disconsolate and attempted to kill herself. However, due to the Genova cells that were injected into her body, she was unable to do so. With suicide no longer an option, Lucrezia instead chose isolation and fled to the Crystal Cave. And when Vincent Valentine encountered Lucrezia toward the end of Final Fantasy VII, he informs her that Sephiroth is dead to set her mind at rest. Now, during Sephiroth's childhood, scientists discovered that although he did exhibit enhanced physical and mental attributes, he was unable to talk to the planet, which was their ultimate goal. As a result,
okay, that's why they
decided to rear
experimented.
him as a soldier. They were also keen to ensure he didn't find out about his true origins, so they could manipulate him towards their cause. Therefore, instead of telling him who his real parents were, they instead told him the half-truth, that his mother was called Genova and that she died shortly after he was born. Sephiroth progressed through the military ranks at Shinra with ease and joined Soldier, their elite military division. By the time the
Okay.
Wutai War began, Sephiroth had already established himself as a soldier first class, and due to his exploits during the resulting war, he not only earned the respect of his peers, but also the nickname Silver Soldier. Due to his newfound fame, Shinra decided to use Sephiroth as a propaganda tool for their recruitment of people into their military operations. It's a decision that paid off, as they gained numerous new recruits such as Genesis Rhapsodus and Angeal Hewley, who both joined Soldier after being inspired by Sephiroth. Cloud Strife would also join Shinra's military forces with the dream of emulating his hero. During their time fighting in the Wutai War, Sephiroth became close friends with Angeal and Genesis, and even though they didn't know about their similar backgrounds, something of a friendly rivalry developed between the trio. Although to Genesis it was much more than that, as he was extremely envious of Sephiroth's fame. This all came to a head during a virtual reality training session that got out of hand. Genesis challenged Sephiroth to a one-on-one duel, and Angeal was forced to step in and stop the fight.
Damn.
Genesis was wounded at the conclusion of this duel though, but despite insisting that it was only a minor injury, it didn't heal. Wanting to help his comrade, Sephiroth offered his blood for a transfusion, but was told that it didn't matter.
More ads.
Wholesome and jam-packed with life-sustaining protein. No, it's not magic.
Soon after, Genesis disappeared, deserting from the military during a mission in the Wutai War, and was officially declared missing in action. Towards the end of the war, Sephiroth also met Zack Fair, a soldier second class, who had been on a crucial mission with Angeal. However, soon after the conclusion of the mission, Angeal also went missing. Although he had become close to Angeal and Genesis, Sephiroth was somewhat unconcerned by their disappearances, and when they were announced to have been killed in action by Shinra a month after the conclusion of the Wutai War, he continued with his service as normal. However, Sephiroth had started to question his loyalty to Shinra, if only because he wanted to understand his purpose. Soon after the conclusion of the Wutai War, an anti-Shinra organization called Avalanche started to intensify its terrorist
There it
attacks.
is.
One of these attacks saw them take control of Junon's Mako cannon, and President Shinra mobilized Sephiroth to deal with this rebellion personally. During the mission, Sephiroth eliminated numerous members of Avalanche and ended up engaging with Elfei, the leader of the organization. However, due to her being materia infused, their duel ended in a stalemate. And in the
Wow.
parley that happened afterwards, Elfei questioned why Sephiroth actually fights for Shinra. It's something that sowed a seed in Sephiroth's mind, and 2 months later, this line of thinking would be enhanced, as Genesis would invade Midgar with his new army of Genesis copies. During the time of his disappearance, Genesis had been working hard with Dr. Hollander and Soldier Director Lazar de Sericus to mount a force capable of invading Midgar and bringing the fight to Shinra. This saw the start of the Genesis War. Although Sephiroth undertook missions towards the beginning of this war, he started to question whether he was fighting for the right side. As a result, he started to decline missions that concerned either Genesis or Angeal. However, when Genesis started raiding Mako reactors in various locations around the planet, the war started to intensify further, and soon after, Sephiroth was sent on a mission with Zack Fair to investigate a monster outbreak that was believed to be connected to Genesis. The mission would take place in Nibelheim, and before leaving, Sephiroth confided in Zack that it would likely be his last mission. He planned to retire from Shinra following its conclusion. On the mission itself, Sephiroth and Zack were accompanied by some Shinra infantrymen, one of whom was a young Cloud Strife.
Hey,
They were
Cloud.
also guided to the Mount Nibel
Tifa?
Mako reactor by young Tifa Lockhart. Upon entering the reactor, Sephiroth was disgusted to find pods inside that contained monsters created by Professor Hojo. He explained to Zack, who accompanied him into the Mako reactor, that average soldiers were humans who were infused with Mako energy. But when Zack then questioned how Sephiroth ended up becoming a super soldier, Sephiroth started to doubt his own birth and humanity, as he realized that he too must have been created in the same fashion as the monsters that had disgusted him earlier.
He became self-aware.
Genesis then entered the reactor and confirmed Sephiroth's fears, that he was indeed a monster, and that he was created by Professor Hojo through the Genova project. However, unlike himself and Angeal, who were considered failed experiments due to their degradation, Project Sephiroth was considered a success. Upon hearing this, Sephiroth locked himself away inside the Shinra mansion in Nibelheim, which was coincidentally the main research facility for the Genova project. He read through documents left by Professor Gast and Professor Hojo and discovered that he was indeed a result of the Genova project, which then led to the Nibelheim incident. Upon discovering the truth behind his origins, Sephiroth entered into a fit of rage and turned his sights on the nearest target, Nibelheim. During his attack, he killed many of its inhabitants, such as Tifa's father, and he set fire to the entire village. After doing so, Sephiroth headed to the Nibelheim reactor, looking for the remains of Genova. And inside, while Sephiroth was attempting to enter the inner chamber, a young Tifa Lockhart chased after him, trying to get revenge for her father. Sephiroth, though, thwarted her attacks and sent her flying down the stairs of the Mako reactor. Upon entering the inner chamber, Sephiroth ripped away the manufactured head and came face to face with his mother, Genova. But he was soon confronted by Zack, who wanted to understand why Sephiroth had not only attacked the village, but also the inhabitants. Before they dueled, Zack proclaimed, "You're not the Sephiroth I once knew," to which Sephiroth replied, "I am the chosen one. I have been chosen to rule this planet." It signaled to Zack a complete shift in personality and demeanor, and the two squared off. Sephiroth, though, defeated Zack in the ensuing fight.
Another ad. Oh, this is getting good.
What do you want? Want a job that I don't hate.
Me too.
Want to do something that matters.
Same.
Distracted though, he was stabbed in the back by that young Shinra infantryman, Cloud Strife. Thinking Sephiroth had perished, Cloud then left the scene to attend to Tifa, but Sephiroth broke through Genova's glass casing and cut off her head. He then left the inner chamber carrying his blade and Genova's decapitated head down the Mako reactor steps.
Why?
As Cloud
Why?
watched, mortified.
Why would he do
urged
that?
Cloud to finish Sephiroth off, but instead Sephiroth bested him and stabbed him through the center of his chest. Much to Sephiroth's surprise, Cloud then used the last of his strength to shimmy down the blade, hoist Sephiroth into the air, and throw him into the depths of the Mako reactor. This action saw the theoretical death of Sephiroth, and indeed, later that month, Sephiroth was declared to be killed in action by Shinra. But Sephiroth was only somewhat dead at this point. The
Of
remains
course.
of his body drifted to the northern crater, where he absorbed knowledge from within the lifestream. And by utilizing the power of Genova's severed head and his own will, he started to create a new body. He also began to hatch a plan to become all-powerful. He would fatally wound the planet, allowing him to absorb the lifestream. 5 years later, at the start of Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth called for a reunion. This would see all of the Sephiroth copies around the world head for the relocated remains of Genova. Heeding the call, Genova's remains, which had been relocated to the Shinra...
Hold on, Sephiroth copies. So I'm guessing those were just the failed experiments? Like Genesis and the other guy?
building following the Nibelheim incident reanimated and took on the form of Sephiroth. And using this form, Genova murdered President Shinra and escaped from the city. Genova then infiltrated the Temple of the Ancients and manipulated Cloud into obtaining the black materia, which Sephiroth needed in order to cause Meteor, thus allowing him to inflict a fatal wound on the planet. Knowing of Sephiroth's plan, the group attempted to prevent Cloud from handing the black materia to Sephiroth. However, Genova mimicked the appearance of party members and tricked them into giving it to Cloud, who then proceeded to hand the black materia straight to Sephiroth. Sephiroth
What?
then began to summon Meteor, which awakened the weapons, and in the ensuing chaos, Cloud fell into the lifestream. Between this time and the end of Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth began modifying his body to become something befitting of a god, and as he did so, he waited for Meteor's arrival behind a protective shield that he had placed around the northern crater. However, when Shinra fired the Sister Ray and destroyed the barrier, Cloud and his allies were able to descend through the northern crater to the planet's core. Realizing what Aerith had done, Sephiroth had ventured to the planet's core to block the summoning of Holy. When he was then confronted by Cloud and his allies, he transformed into both Bizarro Sephiroth and Safer Sephiroth, but was still ultimately defeated. as a last-ditch attempt to try and succeed, Sephiroth attempted to take control of Cloud's mind, but Cloud's mental defenses were able to resist the attempt, and Sephiroth drifted away, being absorbed into the livestream once again. This time though, he avoided complete dissolution by focusing on his extreme hatred for Cloud. Doing so allowed him to remain separate from the other spirits within it. With Sephiroth's active blocking no longer there, the combination of Holy and the livestream were able to stop Meteor. But Sephiroth's consciousness, which now resided in the livestream, hatched a new plot during this time. He wanted to taint the livestream so much that he would be able to control its will. And upon doing so, he believed that he could use the planet as a vessel to travel through space so that he could find another planet to rule, much as Jenova had done in the first place. During the ending of Final Fantasy VII, he actioned this plan. When the livestream emerged to assist Holy, it spread across the land, and Sephiroth used this to seed out his memories and Jenova's remaining consciousness. This action created a disease known as geostigma, which infected young children and individuals like Cloud with Jenova cells due to their weak resistances. At the same time, Sephiroth also attempted to create an avatar for himself, but due to his fragmented memories, he was unable to do so. He therefore searched the livestream for other memories and used them to craft 3 remnants, who would search for Jenova and allow him to become reborn again. These remnants were Kadaj, Yazoo, and Loz, physical manifestations of Sephiroth's will. They managed to successfully recover the Jenova cells from Rufus Shinra, but in the aftermath, Loz, Yazoo, and Kadaj were all defeated. In desperation, Kadaj absorbed Jenova cells, allowing for the return of Sephiroth once again. He dueled against Cloud in the ruins of Midgar, but despite having numerous opportunities to kill Cloud, Sephiroth chose to elongate the fight as he wanted Cloud to suffer. However, Cloud became invigorated by memories of his friends and family and was able to defeat Sephiroth
The power of
in
friendship.
version 5. Before fading away, Sephiroth gave a foreshadowing warning claiming, "I will never be a memory," implying that he may still continue to exist within the livestream. But after this point, he no longer appeared in a direct sense in the story of Final Fantasy VII or its associated compilation. So there you have it, guys. That's a rather extensive look at the story of Sephiroth, someone who was once a hero amongst the people, but who became the ultimate evil within the world.
Jesus Christ.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If so, let us know in the comments below what you thought, and if you'd like us to continue with this type of video, please let us know which character you'd like us to take a deep dive into next. Also, as a reminder, if you enjoy our content, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And if you really like what we do, why not consider becoming a Patreon supporter to help us grow? Not only do you get your name at the end of videos like these awesome folks you're seeing right now, but you can also get Final Fantasy Union badges, or even the ability to choose what kind of videos we make. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into Sephiroth's story. This is Daryl, signing out. I will see you next time for more Final Fantasy videos.
There you have it. Oh, wow. All of that just because he found out the truth. But the truth would do that to a person. I'm still kind of baffled on pertaining on Sephiroth really taking Jenova's head. I mean, why wouldn't he just detach her from the actual machine? I'm kind of at a loss for that one. But man, such a fall from grace. So I mean, like, how many clones did Shinra make? See, I have to really dig into this now, because this answered a lot of things, but also gave rise to new questions. So, man, no wonder this man went all the way to Smash just to run Cloud's feed, man. That hatred. Poor Cloud. He can't catch a break. He can't be free of that man. Jeez. Yo, even playing like the 7 remake, man, when he first showed up, it scared me. Like ugh. Just creepy, man. Just showing out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. if you guys enjoyed. You already know, do like, comment, share, and subscribe. I have to do more of these. I have to really understand this story. But it's going to be a fun journey. Take care. Bye-bye.